Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Arkansas Wrestling Unleashed. That's where we talk about Arkansas wrestling in general. Uh, Sorry, my other monitor was glitching out. Oh, what's going on? Anyway, uh, it is a nice, cool, rainy day here on the outskirts of Hector, Arkansas. And I only say that just so I can waste a little time to let a few more people kick in. So, come on. Oh, it's that. Why is that doing that? Nah, I don't need it anyway. So hope everybody's enjoying their evening. We're gonna, like I said, we're gonna let a few people uh flow in a little bit before I start rolling through these things. Uh, Still waiting on my guests to kick in too. Uh, just one of those days. Uh, oh, excuse me, but yeah. So what we're gonna do? Oh, excuse me. Sorry about that. As usual, we will go through our different flyers and everything of different shows around Arkansas. And then we will, hopefully, if my guest can make it here, uh, we will talk with him and see what he's got going on, get a little history background on him. But this is a little different from my normal SDU stuff. This is more serious if you haven't kicked in, tuned in before. What we're doing, like I said, we go through all the different Arkansas wrestling shows that I have flyers available. If you do not see your flyer, it means either I did not come across it on Facebook or you didn't send it to me. So don't take no offense to it. I just I put over what I can find. So or that I see or somebody sends to me. So that's just kind of how it flows. Normal routine stuff like we do every time we do this. So so I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Hopefully we can get some people watching. Hold on just a second. Let me do something here. Work it. All right. So we'll go here, here. That. Mhm. Burning a little time trying to get some more in here. So all right. So we got that done. Like what I was normally do. So again, like I said, we are here. We're gonna put over Arkansas wrestling. Like I said, if you have not tuned in before, we just go through the different shows and I do interview afterwards. Hopefully, he'll be able to make it in today. He did say it would be cutting a little close. What's going on, Al? Good to see you, man. Uh, got a few people tuning in. Fred James, of course. What's up, Al? All right. So I have went through Facebook. I found what I could find. Like I said, if you do not see your flyer, uh, make sure you send me your info, man. I can't put it over if I don't know what's going on. If you are a wrestler and you want to work in Arkansas, hit me up. I have a list of shows and people to contact in order to get booked on those shows. Uh, it's not a reference for me, but it is a little guide on who to talk to. So, but we're gonna go ahead and roll into this. We start as normal with the one of the longer running Saturday shows. You got Out of Control Wrestling in Hoxie, Arkansas, November 22nd, Thanksgiving Throwdown. Uh, Man, that's one thing I've been seeing at Hoxie. You're seeing a lot of new faces, a lot of people. Um, that you really hadn't seen up there. They're throwing in a good variety of stuff nowadays. Also, the next week, November 29th, will be their Giving Thanks show, free admission in Hoxie, Arkansas. Oh, Justin, you be quiet. What's up, Mark? Uh, yeah, you got this goober right here. Uh, only time they wouldn't want to see it if you were on it. So, all right, we're going to roll into our next one, and I've got quite a few for these people because they are doing a very good job at getting their promotional stuff out there. Diaz, Arkansas, you've got Wild Card Wrestling. We're going to start off with this one, November 22nd, this Saturday in Diaz. You got that feller coming from ALW. I forget his name, but yeah, it should be a really good show. If you're in the Diaz area, make sure you hit it up. Then the next week, Richard Holiday is coming in. Now, I'm gonna tell you right now, if you ain't seen this guy's videos online, I don't know what you're watching. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, his whole signature move thing, he is, I mean, all it is a freaking uppercut to the nuts. And this dude has gotten it over massively. Jason Dugan, that was the guy. I didn't know who it was. But no, Richard Holiday is coming in on November 29th. Then we've got our first shows from next year to put over. February 14th, Austin Aries is going to be at Wild Card Wrestling. Then hopefully, and there's probably going to be end up being a seminar, guys. So pay attention. Pay attention. Then February 28th, which was also my wrestling anniversary. Haha. Got the Rowdy Club coming in. Till Piper and Diamos. I hope I said that correctly, but the daughter of Rowdy Roddy Piper will be in action there, as well as this Diamos guy, which I've seen. I don't know a whole lot about him, but that will be in Diet. We're going to roll over here to Rector. This is also November 29th. There's a few of us. You notice some familiar faces on that one. But yeah, there's going to be a big 2-ring battle royal, multiple matches. Should be a good show overall. Mainly because I see Uncle Phil up there. Uncle Phil's going to be in action. That's one of my favorite people in this world. So I'm going to make sure I kick him in the face. All right, we're going to roll over here this Friday night in Osceola, MCW. And this is just, they had multiple flyers out. This is just the one I grabbed. But they run every Friday night. So if you get a chance, get over there and watch them. All right, now we're going to head over to Dardanelle, near my neck of the woods. Gladiator Championship Wrestling is going to be holding what they call the Gladiator Bowl. And you notice right there in the middle, you've got freaking Mike Bennett is coming in, and he is also going to be doing a seminar that day. So if you have the opportunity to learn from Mike Bennett, I highly suggest you take advantage of that. If I wasn't on the other side of the state that day, I probably would. We're going to roll down to Mountain Pine, Arkansas here. This is November 22nd, this Saturday, WrestleFest 8. I believe this is their 8th year anniversary. Main event, double title match. Sebastian Envy and Drayshawn Prince, which should definitely be the match to see that night. Roll down here, December 13th. Haybarn Championship Wrestling will be in Prescott, Arkansas, their annual Christmas show, which I did not get to download it, but they will also be having a toy drive that night. So if you're gonna be in attendance that show, make sure you bring a toy for a kid, man. December 6th at Vino's in Little Rock, Arkansas, you got TAC Wrestling 8 Crazy Fights. It's going to be a tournament to crown a new TACW champion. Unfortunately, Grayson Beckett had to have surgery, so he had to relinquish the title. November 23rd, Hype and Glory will be in Fouke, Arkansas. Fouke? I hope I said that correctly. I don't know. I know there's a Fouke monster, so maybe that's where it's from. But Hype and Glory, you got my boy Ring Bully Remsen right there on the front. Man, that should be a good show. It's on a Sunday, so if you get a chance, get over there and take a look. We're gonna roll over here to Marianna, Arkansas, the CEO for All Pro Wrestling. Is going to be there, and they're also earlier in that day they will have a pro wrestling camp that is completely free. If you are able, get over there and do it. I've seen people get booked because of that camp. December 13th, Inhumane Championship Wrestling will be in Corning, Arkansas. These guys right here always put on a hell of a good show. Very good show there. I got a few more here. Wrestling with Pride this Friday at the Greene County Fairgrounds. If you're over in that area, make sure you hit them up. If not, TNR the very next night, Fight with Fire. It's going to be a Marmaduke Fire Department benefit show. If you don't catch TNR there, roll on over here to Leechville on December 13th. 'Twas the fight before Christmas. I had to say it slow because I knew I'd screw it up. And finally, this Saturday, MACW Golden Opportunity. You see right there, it's a 4-man ladder match. Apparently, is their main event. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. And the reason I left that one for last, hold on just a second. Waiting on the AWL Flower with my ball me, man. Hey, you just got to wait your turn, Mark. Just got to wait. But I was saying the reason I left MACW for last is because I know there's going to probably be a certain somebody in attendance for this show, and he is my guest tonight, ladies and gentlemen, the Playboy Brandon Johnson. What's going on?
Hey, David, man, it's good to be here, man. Good to be here.
I bet you're sitting there wondering, like, man, is this guy ever going to shut up?
No, I was looking at, and I know this because I see a lot of it come through, but just how much wrestling there is in the state now, and man, that's exciting. It's exciting news.
Well, and I guarantee it, that's not even all of them. That's just the flyers that I came
Oh
across.
yeah.
People sent to me. I'm sure there's a lot more that I missed.
Yeah, I'm always amazed. Just I've been doing this a long time, man. 1998, and there was a few years there where it felt like wrestling was kind of on the downward slope. There wasn't a lot going on. Shows were few and far between, and now it looks like there's almost always something. So that's exciting news.
In the state of Arkansas, honestly, if you can't get booked in Arkansas, you're not doing something right. Because there is every weekend there is a show somewhere going. Like OCW runs every Saturday night. MACW is running what, twice a month now?
Twice a month now. I believe it'll go back to once a month in the summer. But
yeah, and then Fridays you got MCW and Osceola. Saturdays, Wild Card Wrestling is every Saturday, and there's a ton of shows that are running once a month or once, and then a few that's running once every 2 months. There's a lot of wrestling in the state of Arkansas. Oh, excuse me. Now, Brandon, I don't know how much you've watched of this or anything like that, but
well, off and on some. I was thinking this. Actually, I watched some of Black Diamond Enterprises not long ago, and I thought I questioned. I thought, man, what have I got myself into? Because I was thinking, I was thinking like I don't consume a lot of wrestling as far as shows, but then I got to thinking like, other than live wrestling, which I love. Live wrestling is a totally different horse than any other wrestling. I do consume a lot. It's just kind of in pieces. Like that's kind of where all media is now, right? Like
right,
Spotify and things like that. So it turns out I do watch a lot. I just don't watch it kind of from start to finish, like a television show.
Yeah.
And so I thought, well, yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. So I have seen a little bit, but not a ton.
Well, and the main thing I was putting down is that we're laid back on here. I would say 90%, 95% shoot. We pull that curtain back, but we don't do it a whole 100%. So it's at your discretion on that.
Oh yeah.
But man, one thing I like to start off with a lot of people when I interview them and all is what originally got you interested in wrestling in general?
Oh man. Oh, so well, I grew up with it. So my uncles uh, were both. One was a wrestler named Chris Royal back in the '70s around Jonesboro and Memphis, and then my other uncle was a referee. And uh, Saturday morning, man, that's what we did. My cousins, my uncles, we would watch. Of course, Memphis wrestling was big, and Earl Bell was still pretty big then. So people would come in, and we would go see shows, and just really grew up watching it, and kind kind of fell out. Um, I, how old are you, David? Roughly. Uh,
44.
I'm a little older than you. So there came a time, where we were wrestling like the Wolfman and Mummies, and I stopped being as cool to me. Kind of backed out of it, but I still always really liked it. And so when I got about 16 or so, my friends, a couple of them were really into watching it, and we would watch it together, and really enjoyed it. And we would stop, while we were out running around at a gas station to get gas. And one of the guys was like, "Man, that guy there is a wrestler." It was Leonard Doan, and so
Okay.
I would ask Leonard every time we met. I would ask him, "Hey man, would you go train me to wrestle?" And he's like, "Never," and then he would leave, and that went on for about a year and a half or 2 years, I guess. And finally, he told me he cut me a price and said, and I said okay, and so me and another buddy, I ended up paying my other buddy's way in, and I found out later that he charged me double what he normally charged just because he didn't think I would pay it, and and so we got out there and we're locking up, kind of going through some chain stuff with him. And a customer came and he's like, "Hey, I'm going to leave you with a couple of guys." And it was the Canines. It was Mad Dog James Newman and Bad Dog Doug Abbott. And after he left us alone with them for about 5 minutes, Tim decided he didn't want to wrestle anymore. And I came back. And so he ended up using me some. And then it wasn't long after that that him and David Polston started the ASWF. And so it just kind of went from there, man.
So you're actually one of like the ASWF originals.
Oh, so I was thinking when you showed Big Nasty Uncle Phil there, uh, we were, I believe, the first match. I believe it was me and Idlebane. He was Idlebane then, versus Too Sweet Timmy G and Sexy Rex Ellison, if I remember
Oh
correctly.
wow. I know
And
I remember Rex very well.
that first show was in. It was actually in Aaron's backyard. It was a bunch of family and friends and stuff. A couple of guys that were talking about maybe investing, and then about 2 weeks later, we had a show at the Walridge Armory, which would be like the first official show. But yeah, that was our first show. So I was there, and that's kind of how I got back into it, man. So for years I would kind of joke around with when they would put up the ASWF Hall of Fame, and then MACW came in and theirs as well. But they would put up the Hall of Fame, and I'd always kind of bitch on Facebook about like I guess every referee's going to make it in the Hall of Fame for us because
Hey, Fred James is in their Hall of Fame
Fred James.
in the
Yeah,
fan section. My
yeah,
buddy
yeah,
Fred, he's
yeah.
in there before I ever
Well,
I they hadn't even thought about me yet, so I
well,
get it.
they had put someone in there. I can't remember who it was. Who was pretty new, and I would just all the time be like, well, I guess if the referees are going to make it, whoever sold hot dogs will make it before us. And so, kind of, one of the stories about that is that, and they may have beat it since then, but I often say like Leonard and I were the longest reigning tag champions with them, and I don't know if that's true, but I'll tell the story here. What happened is we won the belts, whatever that Saturday would have been before September 11th, 2001. And so when we won the belts, September 11th happens, and of course Armory's pretty much shut down for almost 2 years, and so there was probably maybe 3 or 4 shows. We did a couple of shows behind Mike's Tire Service back in the day. We did a show, I think, at Clover Bend at the old school. But other than that, it's not that we, defended the belt on again and off again for 2 years. It's we had 3 shows in 2 years, and And so,
Wow.
and so, which works really well for the kind of character I portray. So, so, and the whole reason I teamed with Leonard in the first place, and he's one of my best friends, but and I've already told him this story. God, he's the stiffest man I ever worked, and I thought, if we were tag team, I wouldn't have to be hit by him very often, and so that's kind of what led to the centerfolds and the whole, because he was doing the Night Hunter gimmick at the time. Him and I can't remember, Mark Johnson or I can't remember his name. Saved my life. And I had mentioned tagging with him. He's like, yeah, man, you could be a Night Hunter. And I was like, no, that's not going to work. I said, I would really like to see Luscious Leonard come back. And he was like, oh man, he said, I work for the city and I can't be telling people I'm luscious and then like picking up like their garbage and stuff. And I was like, no, I think you can. Like, I think that would be great. And so I was dating this girl at the time. She was about 6 foot tall, and we talked her into being. She was like the niece of Hugh Hefner was the story, and she was looking for the two most attractive men in wrestling, and she found Leonard and myself, which is fantastic. And and so she bowed out like a month in, but it stuck, and so so when they brought me back in finally. Craig called me and said, hey, man, are you interested in being in the Hall of Fame? And I was like, man, it's only taken 15 years. Like, yeah. And I had such a good time backstage.
Crusher, you missed the Flyers already. We put you over, man. Come on. No, I'm just messing with you, dude. Go back and watch it.
I see a lot of people here. I know. It's good to see these guys.
Yeah.
We, man, it's so much fun. I asked Craig about coming back. And my plan was never to come back as Playboy. I was like, well, we'll talk to someone. We kind of figure out what they do, and kind of get a plan. And then it was about 5 minutes before we went out. It's like, so who do you want to be? And I was like, man, I've not even had a chance to talk to the dude yet. And I said, I guess we'll be Playboy. And so that's what we ended up being. So,
and it worked out perfect.
It worked out well.
Let's go back to the beginning though. Because you did wrestle for a while before you stepped back, and then the manager thing. What was your first match?
Oh God, it was in Hardy, and it was me, and he wrestled as Sniper. John was his first name. I'm gonna be honest with you, buddy. I can't remember his last. And we wrestled the Canines at the old Hardy gym, and
which incarnation of the Canine?
That would have been Mad Dog and Bad Dog, Newman and Doug. And
okay.
And so the plan of this show was to end it with a battle royal, and that was the plan all around. Well, they decided to scrap the battle royal, and the reason they decided to was there wasn't a huge crowd. I mean, we drew pretty well for Hardy, but kind of a smaller crowd, and they were like, we're just not going to do this." And I remember Sniper being like, man, I want the battle royal. Like, he just like really, and finally Leonard was like, okay, fine, man, we'll do the battle royal. The Canines got a hold of him, and I remember I could hear his voice being like, stop the battle royal, please, someone stop the, like they put him like into an air conditioner vent. It was crazy, man. And that was the first, so it was AWC then is what Leonard wrestled as. And I don't know if you ever met them, but there was the Cooks out of Missouri. It would be Michael Lightning Bolt Cook, and they called his dad. They ran Malden, I believe it was. They were also AWC.
Probably way before my time, because I didn't grow up in Arkansas. I grew up down in Louisiana.
Oh yeah, so they were also AWC. And when Poston started running, Cooks came in and worked for him a little bit or with him. Leaf got a little upset, and they were like, man, we've had like a trademark on this name. And whether that was true or not, I don't know, but he changed it to ASWF.
Okay.
And then later, after Leonard and Poston kind of split off of there, Leonard got with this guy named Danny Paradise, is what they called him, Daniel Wilfon. And they started, what was it, AWF? And so it was me and of course, Leonard and Rex Ellison. John Roderick was there a lot. Kid Dynamite was with that. That's where Cody Davidson or Cody Daniels now would have got his start at. So man, it's a great locker room. We ran that for a couple of years, and when it kind of shut down about that time, man, I'm just it's getting older. I mean, I'm almost 50, and I broke my neck and my back in two separate occasions, and so very much limits your move set. So
Hey, I don't know anything other than that. Come on now.
yeah, right. Just got rebelled out. Yeah, I mean, I obviously wasn't a high flyer to begin with, but I mean, really just kind of had to change what I did, and then like I said, there was a long time there where there wasn't a lot of local wrestling.
Well,
And
it was also that's probably during the athletic commission days.
yeah, oh
When
yeah, oh
they
god,
made it very difficult for promoters to run.
oh, it was such
I
a
remember because I did a little bit of promoting right at the end of the commission time frame, and I remember how much money I was having to shell out every
did,
show, and it's just ridiculous.
did you ever? You may not have. Did you ever work for any shows where like you had to hide until the commissioner left? So like one time they had us go out a window.
I didn't have to personally hide, but we did one show that the commission showed up for, and we had to cancel our intermission because if they would have inspected the ring, they would have shut it down.
Yeah. Oh
Uh,
yeah.
Ham bone ring.
Oh man. So I was. So
Yeah, that's all I gotta say.
so new beginnings coming up, right? Or golden opportunity. Golden opportunity.
Yeah.
Let me put Nick over real quick. I really feel like, and I don't necessarily feel like I have anything to do with that, but like coming into his own as a performer. But a lot of the times we've talked about it, I was like, I realized that he's a little younger than me, and maybe he never got to meet Leroy Hambone, but I've never seen a man do more with less than Leroy Hambone. He could go out and put out 3 moves, and that the crowd hated him, and it wasn't like go away heat. It was legitimate heat, and he would go out there and, like I said, do 3 things maybe.
Which one?
The older Hambone, Leroy.
Leroy. Okay.
Yeah, and man, I mean, just got such phenomenal heat. But I believe his ring might have been Leonard's old ring. It was made out of 2x12s. It was like 2x12s, and then a couple of 2x12s, and then wood, and then carpet padding, and then like a canvas tarp that just tore the skin off of you.
Okay, so that sounds like the right one, except they had more of the 2x6s. I know because I did a match in there. I took a TKO, and on that bump, one of the boards was warped, and I had a bruise from my shoulder down to my hip.
So my back, I broke what's called the foraminals, like the wings on L4 and L5. And what it was I took a power slam from Hillbilly Tiny, and those boards shifted, and we went between those, and I basically took it on the board,
Oh shit!
And Tiny, although his name said he was not, and so it led to. About a week later, I went to the chiropractor, and I was like, "Man, I think it's caught." And he took X-rays. He's like, "Man, I think I need to call somebody to come get you because this is broken." And it was. So.
Well, I know a lot of guys when they go from wrestling to managing. I know some have issues with that, because it's the mentality of you want to get in the ring. How's that transition been for you, man?
Well, early on, I don't know. I think that I had a mentality. I think early, especially, I kind of had this mindset of like, am I a manager, right, or am I like a mentor manager, right? So there was that kind of dichotomy where my initial thought on that was, I came into the Hall of Fame. We kind of sold the accolades of like, okay, we've, this is the pedigree of who he is. Now I have these 2 younger guys, and so when we started, we're trying to figure out like what we were going to call that group. That's why we went with the omitted, because the whole idea was right. Like I was angry because I had been snubbed for X number of years, 15 years or so. At the time, we had a DJ Hall and Ray Collins, and I would talk about how these guys are here, week after week after week, and someone walks in the door that's friends with Craig, and they're going to get a title shot, like they've been overlooked. You had, you had Cody Murdoch, who was half of one of the most decorated tag teams they had there. Man, McLean leaves, and Cody's just kind of shelved, man. And then we ended up with Nick Scott, who had spent a year off basically after being kicked out of the building. And so, I have this group of guys who have all kind of been overlooked and left out. And I kind of looked at myself at the time of like, okay, well, obviously, I don't have the cardio to wrestle anymore, but like, be a threat. And there was, I think, a little, I don't want to say tension, but there was some kind of like, as a manager, like if the wind blows, you should fall over. And I was like, I understand the traditional, like this is how we've always done manager. And I'm not saying like at any point like we should go toe to toe, but I'm not exactly the Grand Wizard. I'm not. I'm not Jimmy Hart. I'm 6'3". I'm 300 pounds. And I'm a 6-time champion. So like let's use that and tell a story. And that's kind of where we've gone with that a little bit now. And again, I mean, I also get beat up a lot,
but basically the thing is you're not as bad as you used to be, but you're still a bad man.
Well, and so, man, and I might be the only one that thinks this way, but I do a lot of I akin wrestling a lot to comic books. I really do, right? Like, and so. But there's a couple of points I'd like to make here, I guess, and we'll go off on a tangent for a second. But
you're fine, man.
But when we have like, when you look at a lot of the supervillains, especially like when you end up with like, Batman, Superman, things like that, they're not on equal footing as far as power levels go, and so the threat isn't that could go toe to toe with this person. The threat then becomes, it has to change, right? The dynamic has changed, and that can either be the numbers game, or that can be the underhandedness. But like that's the thing. It's like you can still be, in my opinion, at least, a good supervillain, and not necessarily go on that equal footing. And that's kind of how I've tried to position that. But early in that, again, anytime you're working with guys, I always ask them like, "Who are you?" And a lot of times you get the kind of the generic answer of like, "Oh, it's me turned up to 11," right? But the problem with that is it's not, because the powers isn't what makes it interesting in a comic book. It's the weaknesses, right? It's those fears. It's those sort of things. And
I
that's,
love that. I love that analogy.
Yeah,
I absolutely love it.
And I think that's kind of been the thing. Is again, I was thinking on the way up here about how media has changed. I can't tell you the last time I bought a vinyl and went all the way through it. Because everything's Spotify, right? You watch a song, and I can't tell you the last time I've sat down and watched like a WWE or an AEW show from the start to the finish. But at a live show, right, you have to have a little bit of something for everybody, because it is more like a movie or a whole album, and so
it's a variety show.
Yeah, right. It's a buffet, right? So
there you go.
In addition to that, you have people that are there every time the doors open, and you have people that this is the only time they've come, and you want to make each match special to them, and you don't want them to feel like they have to have 2 years of lore behind it, but you also want to include little callbacks for the people that are there and make it special for
Right.
that. And that's kind of what I tell people like constantly is when I say like, think about your weakness, right? I'm not trying to be like be weak, but like what drives you, right? Because when you think about some of the greats like Stone Cold, it's the fact that he can't build alliances, right? Because he doesn't trust anybody. And The Rock has that vanity about him, and these larger than life characters, it's their weaknesses where you can make those stories, and so. I mean, I think that's kind of where we've gone with that. I know I got horribly off topic. It's just
That's all right. Not sure who that is, but
oh,
all righty.
Justin Klein, man. Justin is I hate to say a hero of mine, but kind of his. I've really enjoyed looking at his work over the time. I mean,
Yeah.
he's man.
He straight up just said you don't get enough credit.
Well, I mean, listen, he doesn't either. I mean, we can sit here and compliment each other, but he is.
I would 100% agree with that.
Oh yeah, he's phenomenal. Phenomenal.
I'm not gonna go behind the scenes on him because I know how he is online, so I'll leave it at that. And just he's good at what he does. We'll leave it at that.
Oh, Peter Van.
Well,
Peter
Peter.
Van. Man, he's good people. I wanted to kind of give you some flowers on this. I was, for years I've seen a lot of, I guess you'd call it kind of supernaturally gimmicks, and with the exception of you and the Crawleys, which they're the Crawleys now. Forgive me for not knowing who they are now, but
The Outbreak.
Yeah, but look, those are the first couple of ones I think I've ever seen where it felt like it was done right, and it wasn't like I'm invincible, because it's hard to be invincible when you're hit in the face, right?
So I tell a lot of guys, like people like the whole no sell and stuff. I'm like, if a freaking 5-year-old walks up and bops you in the nose, you're not going to be like, you're going to be like, ow, son of a.
Well, it hurts. So
know?
I did a lumberjack match when we kicked Ray out of the Omitted. I can't remember how we said. Basically, it was like if he beats anybody, like if he wins this match, he can pick a match with anyone they Omitted. And at the time, there were some tag champs, and that was kind of the thing. Is like, yeah, he'll pick one of them, and he picked me. And so it was a lumberjack match. In fact, I screwed myself into it. I was like, yeah, you can even be a lumberjack. He's like, well, the Omitted will jump in. And buddy, I took a buckle to the face, and strap match ain't real comfortable anyway. But boy, that buckle, And so I mean, it's tough. But yeah, so many people tried to do that for years. Just tried to be like invincible, and again, I mean, the whole thing falls apart once one lick, man. But yeah, I really enjoy y'all's and the Outbreak as well. I feel like both of those bring that spooky vibe, but also enough realism, right? So there's got to be a suspension of disbelief, and those do that, and so I really dig those.
I appreciate that, man. Man, my goal is to make other people look good.
Yeah.
And like I get I'm this big monster guy and all like that, but yeah, any kind of monster character has to have some kind of vulnerability.
Well,
so
and I was thinking, and I realize like the locker rooms I've been in since I've been back into it have been pretty minimum. I did get to go to Osceola when Derek retired. I didn't do anything; just kind of hung out in the dressing room. But I knew a lot of those guys. So, oh goodness, what are their names now? The two guys that are basically running it.
Talking about the Claps.
Yeah. Okay, so they were the East Coast Bad Boys.
Yeah. Serpent
years ago.
And C Money.
I just remember them as the East Coast Bad Boys, but we worked them a few times, like back in the late 90s, early 2000s, and those guys were phenomenal. And it's one of those things where, like, when someone makes it big, like, it's hard to understand. I think like how much of that has to be luck, because if anyone should have at the time, like those guys were like the Hardys, like I mean they were just phenomenal at the time, especially. I'm sure now that they're my age, it's a lot harder to flip, off of three stories. But man, watching them then was just like it was hard to do a match with them because you were so amazed watching what they were doing. That you had to police your face that you weren't like, holy crap. And
that's why I love my gimmick. I can make weird faces and laugh, and it's okay.
It's sometimes, man, there's a couple of guys in the crowd. Boy, they'll say something, and it's so hard. It's so hard to not just also be like, I got it, man. But yeah, I was there, and of course with us at MACW, ASWF. But it seems like there has been a shift in the culture where it feels a lot more professional wrestling, at least in the areas I've been in, right? Because early in the day, it was a lot of, I mean, everyone self promotes, but I mean, it was mostly like, I'm the baddest man here, blah, blah, blah. And now it is a lot more like, what's for the good of the show, right? What's for the good of the business? What's for the good of, because that's really how much I look at that, or how I look at that is at the end of the day, uh, I'd like for myself and the promoter and everyone in the back to get paid, of course, and I would like the crowd to leave happy and feel like they got their money's worth. And
you want it to be a whole entity in its own, because, like, say if there was one show that I worked, and that was never a very large crowd, but they were always there. That most of them were there for one specific person. So they ended up having to make him main event just so people would stay the whole time. And then they saw what these other people were doing, and that's what got them to stick around.
Did you ever work the old Dixie Dance Hall? Was it ever around when you were?
I've only been around just shy of 11 years.
Oh no, I think they probably tore it down probably too. So Reggie Montgomery,
I love Reggie.
The Ebony Idol. He had a promotion that he ran there, and I can't. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I couldn't believe that everyone in that place wasn't there just to see Reggie get beat. Like they hated him so bad, and he was so good at it. And yeah, I mean, and I mean, again, like building that. You want to build a show up to where if something happened, like I want the show to be good enough that if something happened to us, like if the omitted left, or you still want people to come back, right? Like that's the whole point.
Right.
Is we want the business to be good, we want the show to be good.
One thing I always enjoyed doing when I was helping out with a few things is I wanted anybody on that card, you could feel like they could be moved into the main event scene without any issues. That was always my goal.
Well, and so much in that is also trust, right?
Yeah.
You have to. I mean, you have to trust that everyone on that card is in it for the right reasons, which isn't always easy.
Yeah.
You have to. Like you said, I would like to know that at any given moment you could replace one person out of one and with another, and you still have a high quality match.
Mm-hmm.
And man, it's so weird that we're in a business that's full of big egos, but there's also not a lot of room for big egos. Right? There's no small parts. I mean, I come from I didn't mention this, but before I got into wrestling, like I come from more of a theater kind of background, and there are no small parts.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of mostly what I do is character work, and those are not typically the big main event things. Those are more, the mid-cardy kind of things, and those are good things, man. I mean, they really are. And that's kind of where I want to be now. Is I kind of want to be in a place to where people who are trying to get in that maybe don't have their footing, right? They don't know really who they are. They haven't maybe determined. Maybe mic skills are a skill. You're not born with them, and maybe they haven't figured out quite how to talk yet, or maybe even what they want to say yet. you can give them that cushion, right, to grow as a performer. And that's really kind of how I see myself. When you talk about like how do you see yourself as a manager, is
Yeah.
I think I give people a cushion so they can perform, so they can figure out who they are. I also am able to do some of the maybe the more funny spots that might make a worker look more weak. If it happens to me, it doesn't really matter, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not trying to do anything anymore. So,
Well, talking about that stuff, Justin actually asked the question: whose careers are you steering these days?
well, so right now, Slick Nick Scott is the only one in the omitted. We recently lost Cody to he left and went with oh goodness, I know his Morgan
Morgan Williams.
Morgan Williams. I don't know why I forgot his last name. I told Matt Williams, I said, I can't believe you picked the least popular Williams. I said, his mom introduces him as this is Matt and Matt's brother. He doesn't, but I do like Morgan. He's a good guy. So there has been some talk. I've talked to Craig a few times about possibly bringing in some more people. Although I have this. You familiar with the band Everclear?
Oh yeah.
Right. So Everclear, man, that first album was gold. But I mean, the whole thing's about being mad at your dad, and like once you're living in a mansion and you got like 5 girls in the Ferrari, it's hard to be mad at your dad. So, right, like it's hard to make a second album about oh dad sucks. It's not genuine anymore.
Oh no, Eminem did a lot of.
Well, he really hated his mom, man. That's a different vibe, but. That's kind of where the omitted is now, right? Like all my guys now have had belts, and since they've all had their championships, we're not really omitted anymore. And so Nick and I were talking the other day, like where do we go now, right? Because you don't want it to get stale. You don't want it to be.
Casey, I see your comment
Oh,
in the. I see your comment down there. We will get to that in a little bit. So
absolutely.
Keep going, bud.
No, I was just like, you don't want it to get right. You don't want it to get stale, and so I do think that whoever maybe we are able to bring in, we need some of who that is to kind of decide where the future goes on this. And so, man, I think it's where we are. I've already kind of changed the vibe up from the teacup and the bow tie, mostly because I kept tearing shirts. And those
the
are
appointed.
I mean,
the appointed.
We are far from appointed from Gregory, man. Casey, as far as being a worker, I feel like David can give you way more advice than I can. But as far as being a character, I would flesh it out to the point that it's silly stuff you're never going to use. Like, why? What's the motivations? What do you want? Like, what would this guy order for dinner? Right? Like, you're never going to use that. It's never like you're going to have a mic spill about it. But knowing those sort of motivations and knowing, like, again, not just the strengths, but like what's the weaknesses of this person. And it doesn't have to necessarily be like silver bullets in the case of my werewolf friend here. But
werewolf.
Well,
that's Bruce. I'm just a psychopath that's borderline schizophrenic.
I was gonna say, both of you a little wolfy looking, man. I'm not gonna lie.
That's just because I ain't got no teeth.
I think it was the growling, actually.
Hey, Cato, if you want to hit me up, man, I'll get you a list of companies and who to contact. So just let me know.
Well, and I kind of miss the teacup too. I still have it.
What teacup? What is this?
I used to come out with a teacup and a little saucer. The problem. The problem is when I moved over to having the cane. So after the last time I got beat to death, the cane. Oh God, I should have done it years ago, Peter. Because you have so much extra room, right? You can point with it. You can. The gestures become bigger. It's a great weapon. it's so versatile, and it's tough to hold the teacup on the saucer with the cane and then get a microphone. And man, you're just constantly juggling like china and canes, and it's just the worst. And so that's why it got retired. I got to figure out a way to bring it back. I haven't thought of. I need a butler. Really, is what I need.
Hey, hold on, Cato. I don't know if I've got you on Facebook because I've got this streaming to a buttload of different places. But David Barmore, on Facebook, just hit me up and I'll get you the info. Gabriel wants to know, is that a nod to Dr. House?
so let's kind of go back on the Playboy gimmick for a minute, and then what it's become.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that.
Initially, I already told you. Initially it was, man, we're the two prettiest people in professional wrestling, and you've met Leonard, I'm sure. Like,
it's been a while. I think I've met him once or twice.
By looking at both he and I, it is obvious that neither one of us are the prettiest people in professional wrestling.
Both that's what makes the gimmick perfect.
Right, that's what makes it fun.
Come on now, Sexy Rex had a belly out to here. Come
on.
I love that guy. I loved him. Loved him. But
Sexy Rex wore his ring gear. I saw him one time at Walmart, and he was wearing the vest, just the vest. And oh man, I had so much fun with Rex. I really miss Rex. Like,
I did, except for the time he chopped me right on my spine with those little bitty hands.
Oh.
I legit stood up, turned around, and grabbed him by his chest hair.
Did you ever wrestle John Roderick?
Hot Rod?
Yeah.
Actually, earlier this year for the first time, I worked a tag match against him and David, and then I worked a singles match with him.
Roderick has like a hand that's nothing but bone, and those chops, God, they sucked. It's like God, he's 20 years old, older now. I mean, this is
you got to think about it though. When my first couple of years, I did a lot of matches with Ray Ivy.
So I don't think I've ever wrestled Ray Ivy, but his dad, Bill, I've wrestled. Little Bill. And if Little Bill was kind of on the way out at that time. He retired not long after that. That's the Dirty Little Gang had just kind of showed up, and you might say which iteration of it, man, I couldn't even tell you. I mean, it was
right. There's been a lot of people in and out of
right. It was Dave. It was Big Pun. It was this guy they called Jackknife, Little Bill Ivy. But by the time it was over, Kid Dynamite was in it for a little bit. Rex was in it for a little bit. That's what kind of broke up Rex and Roderick.
Hey, even Dale was in it for a little bit.
Yeah. So, I mean, there was a lot of, Leonard and I were in it for about 15 minutes. But, as I've kind of gotten older and, I work places now other than wrestling, when we came back, I kind of leaned into that, trying not being a playboy like I got all the ladies, but more of a man that travels the world, right? Like a playboy in that sort of aspect. And so, I talk a lot about, I have, like in the real world, I have 3 degrees now and stuff. So I talk about like, I'm smarter than y'all. I have 3 degrees and I've done this and I've done this and I've traveled this and like you people and like you couldn't understand the culture. And that's kind of where the teacup kind of came in at was talking about like, how cultured I am. Somehow, and I don't know how, other than again, it's just cheaper. I've morphed into a guy that sells cigarettes by the cigarette at a store. And I mean, that's just kind of happened, right? It's kind of moved from, I'm smarter than y'all to I'm just sleazier than y'all. And I've just really, I've kind of enjoyed leaning into the sleaze, The only problem with that is at the same time, Nick has kind of leaned into the class, right? Like he's got the gold robes and he's like,
but
man,
that contrast of the two characters should
that's
work.
what I tell him. Yeah. I tell him, I'm like, man, I kind of dig that sleaze and class.
Because think about it, any high class actor typically has a sleazy ass manager.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's the I think that's kind of the thing, right? Is like it's I don't want to say Paul Heyman-esque, but there is kind of that underhandedness, right? That kind of like, man, you just can't trust this guy in anything. You can't trust him to not cheat in a match. You can't trust him, around your lady friend. You can't trust him to not steal hot dogs out of the concession stand. Like you gotta have to you gotta keep your eye on this guy. And so I mean I've really kind of enjoyed that kind of that sleazeballness.
So when you were wrestling, who would you say? What is that squeaking ass? What's that squeaking noise?
That's my my shoes I've made out of dolphins. No, I have a hardwood floor, and every time I readjust my leg, I apparently hit it on the floor, and it makes it sounds like I have like a pig in here or something, squeaking it up.
So let's do this a 2-part type deal. We're gonna go both eras. When you wrestled and as a manager, who's been your, like, we'll say on a larger level like WWE, that type of thing. Who's your biggest influences?
Oh man. Well, okay, so some of them people are probably not going to know really well.
And that's fine.
So my hero. In fact, I'm wearing his shirt. My hero is a Sputnik Monroe. I don't know if you know anything about Sputnik. Memphis guy, basically desegregated the Mid-South Coliseum. He was hated. So there was and listen, this is before my time too. We're talking like the 60s. He wrestled this guy named Billy Wicks. And man, they tore the South apart, but only for a couple of years. Billy only wrestled for a couple of years. But Sputnik became he was super over with the African American crowd out of Memphis, and in fact, and I use this sometimes. I present at conferences for EMS instructors and stuff, kind of around the United States, and I have a presentation that's everything I learned about like. EMS education I learned from wrestling is the name of it. But one of the things I talk about in there is Sputnik because, man, that dude lived his gimmick. He got arrested for what was called mopery, which was hanging out in like black establishments and eating in places that were supposed to be segregated. Got beat up by the cops. There's a great picture of him with like a black eye holding a coffee cup. Had this huge white streak in his head. And so
I've heard the name, but I need to go research on that.
Yeah, man. Now. Well, they've been supposed to be doing a biopic on him for years, and it just always kind of falls through. But basically, he started paying the ticket guy to sell extra tickets for the top section of the Coliseum. At the time, it was that was the segregated section, and so he ended up paying him to do. They ended up selling like 3 times the tickets than the top could hold. And then he went to the promoter and he was like, "You're gonna let my people sit wherever they want to, or I'm just not gonna wrestle." And the promoter knew, like, man, like there is a crowd out there of both, both sides of the segregation line that's going to tear this place down if they don't see Sputnik get beat up by Billy Wicks. And so he kind of forced their hand. I mean,
wow.
And I just love that story so much. Man, so early on, just hearing about him and watching him, I would have killed to have had a chance to meet him. Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert. I loved Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert. Still love Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert. In fact, we went to his grave last time we were in near Franklin, just to see it. Dutch Mantell was really big back then.
Oh hell!
Oh man!
Punch my grandpa.
Malden was so we were talking about Malden. I used to work for the Cooks in Malden some. So that's really cool.
That's awesome.
Sorry about your grandpa, but I mean, that is a great story. Will, him and Dundee both. When I was a kid, especially at Earl Bell, Tocho Yakamoto would still come in some.
Wow, I ain't heard that name in a long
Yeah, man,
time.
I'm such a good heel. You know, as far as like early, like when I started like watching it again, man, Eddie Guerrero is probably one of my favorites from kind of that earlier mid era of mine.
Yeah.
Such a great heel. And even when he's a baby, right? He doesn't really change much. He's still, it's pretty much the same gimmick, but
Yeah.
so good at it.
The way I
Love,
always explained it is it didn't change the character, he changed his intentions.
right, yeah, exactly. Well, and you know, and again, kind of step off topic. I'll come right back to this. So much for years was like, uh, you know, baby heel, and I've said before, like you know, there'd be a battle royal, and like all the heels would come out, but like just because maybe we're bad guys don't mean we like each other, right? Like
Exactly.
just because we're good guys don't mean like we trust each other. There's all these dynamics between people that you know, you could be the best person in the world, and man, you know, we might just not like each other because of whatever, right? It might be because we're both super competitive or whatever. And I think that's one of the things, right? Those nuances in character of not just I'm a really good guy, I'm a really bad guy. It's trying to find that balance, and so that's one thing Eddie did. Man, when Raven, I loved
Whoa.
Raven so much. And again, the character work, right? Like Raven was
You sound a lot like me.
yeah, he was a
You're drawn to the characters.
he was a well, and that's what I enjoy. He was a great wrestler, but like arguably there were people there that technically were much better wrestlers. But God, there was few people there that was more compelling
Yeah.
because he was so good at that character. And of course, his wrestling's great. And I think that's one of the things is, you know, we get caught up in that telling a story with a match, and it should, right? The wrestling tells a story, but so does your your presentation. And Raven kind of had that whole package with that. The whole flock really was really great.
Yeah.
You know, I very much rooted for them against Diamond Dallas Page. Oh God, Dean Malenko. Dean Malenko was so good too. Underrated. Not a great talker. I was so gorgeous there. Malenko, you know, not my best. Not my. He would be my pick on the mic or anything, but he certainly was. His work was phenomenal. And then now,
Yeah. So who do you feel influences your manager style?
I don't know if it's I don't know if it's a manager. You know, I'm going to be honest here, and I may make some people upset, but with the exception of again, like I think Justin does a great job with that. So many managers just kind of get go away heat, for me at least, right? Like I just
I
it's
agree.
just a lot of like, man, that's an annoying dude. Um, I, 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 I like I like Heyman, but honestly, like Heyman is Heyman, right? Like you
Yeah.
can't. There's no there's no building off of him, and like I'm gonna like incorporate some things because everything about him is so much him.
And
Um,
he's so unique. It's good to study his presentation, but then
yeah,
you
yeah,
have
yeah.
to figure out your own way of doing it.
Oh no, so Crush. Let me touch on Crush real quick. Yeah, I mean it's uncomfortable to talk about because honestly, what happened was horrific. But God, he was so good as far as a worker, just so
Oh,
explosive.
oh, you're talking about Crusher.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
what he said there.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I almost hate the fact that we can't talk about how innovative some. Oh, one more by the way, and then I'll come back on that. Chris Canyon.
I loved Kane.
God,
I
Canyon.
thought he was one of the most innovative wrestlers.
Yes, yeah, everything. Well, you know, Gail Kim, uh, early on,
Yeah.
that octopus choke. God, that was beautiful. I mean, such a great move. Uh, you- Bray Wyatt, not a manager, but that
It's still an influence.
that spookiness of not just the presentation, but just the way he would talk to people, and the way that the early Wyatt family would threaten people. We did a lot of. I took a lot of influence from that early, especially when we had the big group, because like while we'd be talking, I would be getting closer and closer to Craig, while my guys were kind of coming in, right? Like the walls are kind of closing in on you. And so that was a big thing. I think I took a lot of inspiration from. Another one is not a wrestling thing at all. It's Lecter out Silence of the Lambs. Man, that's such a. Have you ever seen? I don't know if you've seen Silence of the Lambs, but
oh yeah, that's like my all-time favorite movie.
The way, oh yeah, me too. And we had this conversation the other day about it, about how like Lecter. In my opinion, Red Dragon and Hannibal aren't quite as good because they kind of focus. Well, Red Dragon is actually really good, but Hannibal, it's not the strengths, right? It's not the eating people that makes Hannibal interesting. It's that cageness of him. It's that he's
the psychological side.
It's what the psychological part of it, but also there's that you know how dangerous he is if he ever did get out, right? Like, and you always know that's what he's thinking about. He's not. I mean, I think it could be argued he is trying to help Clarice in a way because I think he is enamored with her, but it's also how am I going to work this to my advantage? And I think that's as we talk to people, you know, some people especially I may try to flatter and stuff like that because I kind of want that vibe of like how is he what's the scheme, right? Like what's the scheme? And so I think that's an influence. But it's so difficult now though because early in the game, well, one there wasn't a lot of talkers. A lot of us didn't even have a lot of microphones, right? Like early when we started, like it would be basically like your sound system was a boombox with a microphone onto it, and so Polston was one of the first people I ever worked for that had like a whole setup, had a speakers and had lights, and you know, I mean that was and a lot of the guys, you know, like I was, they, you know, we were all about the same age, or I guess I was a little younger than some of them, but they grew up in the '80s where every promo was like, "I'm gonna beat you." You know, I mean, there was a few like you had Dusty Rhodes, great promo work. I'll tell you who's underrated on his promo work is Hanson, the
Stan Hansen.
Yeah, the whole spiel. I got a big fat wife and 9 kids at home, and I got to feed them. Man, that's one of the great. It's one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite Max spills ever. And oh, let me. Okay, somewhat present now. By the way, got Tony Storm.
Oh, dude,
God,
so much personality.
Have you seen the one where she's talking about? He's like, and he gave me a tobacco dripping down my back. He gave me a lariat, and I'm not talking about the clothesline.
Dude, she is like, it's so over the top. It's amazing.
And I told Cody one of the last matches we had when he was with us. I said, I'm afraid that I'm slowly morphing into Tony Storm. I'm scared that that's where I'm headed. But God, I love it so much.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Oh, she's so you know, and yeah. So I mean, early on though, like not like us talked again. It was like, you know, this Sunday I'm going to give you a whooping, and I would come out there and just say, you know, some of the. I remember there's this woman that was just booing us so bad, and I stole this from Leonard, but I remember I said. When we were wrestling, it was the Wild Boys, and they had a valet at the time. So it was Roderick and Cox. And one was booing us. And I remember I came out there, and their valet said something. And I said, I said, y'all have us all wrong. I said, I just want y'all to know I love this woman, and y'all can too for like $4.99. Like, and I remember that reaction was like it's like they saw a dog doing a card trick. Like it just blew their mind, you know. And I thought that's a lot of fun. And so we would do a lot of just kind of wild Max. And now it's so much harder because so many of those guys are so talented. Like we end up in a four-way between Austin Lane, Action Jackson, and Main Event Bradley, and you know, trying to keep up with those four or those three talking, God, that's tough.
I get it.
I mean, it's just like because normally, right? I feel like I'm two steps ahead of what I'm going to say, and you never know what they're going to say. Boy, Action Jackson's so tough to work with. Sometimes to keep a straight face on my end because he does.
Try being in the ring with him.
Oh, that crowd work! I one time I looked over and he had gone out in the crowd. This was like a four-way. It was one of those. It was a Halloween show, or maybe it was Harding night, and he was wearing this person had this nose, and he had it on, and he was wearing this dude's nose, like sitting in the crowd with him, and it was like hot long, man. It was like, and you know, and then he came back in the ring, and you know how hard it is to like act like you're mad at a man that's wearing a 3-foot nose.
Oh, again, that's why I enjoy my gimmick where I can laugh because I made him crack a little bit when we worked at Tuckerman not too long ago. He got that camel backpack thing on.
Yeah.
And he like took his drink and all, and I walked over there, grabbed it, took a drink. Is that vodka? Well, he's like, no.
Gabriel or Peter might remember one of the guys one time took a drink of my tea. I handed the ref my cup while I did a mic spill, and he took a drink of it, and then he was like looked at it, and then the whole time he just kept acting drunker and drunker, like it was where we were going.
So you said a while ago, you said a few minutes ago that it's more difficult these days.
Well,
that was good. Something. Well, but I was also going to say when it comes towards the fan, do you feel like it's more difficult to be a heel now than it was when you first started?
Man, it's always to me been easier to be a heel, and part of it is.
Well, I don't mean being heel compared to babyface. I mean just being a heel in general compared to when you first started. Because these days and age, you can't say certain things that you used to be able to say.
I don't know. You know? I mean, I guess it depends. I guess it depends on the type of heel you are, right? Like how are you getting your heat? And I think that's one of the things about, you know, you can cheap heat your way into a lot of things. You can Mick Foley it, and you know, man, it's a great day here in Missoula, you know, and so I think it takes. I think it takes more investment on your part, like to really to get people upset, and again, it not be go away heat, and not be offense like I'm offended heat, but also listen. There's a freedom that comes with comes with knowing right who I am, right? Because I'm not. I'm never going to get a call from Connecticut, right? They're never going to be like, "Hey, old guy, like come up here." Like that's a lot of these guys, and again, it's not necessarily WWE, but a lot of these guys have aspirations, right, to go and to make it big, and I hope they do. They have to police themselves a little more, but man, to quote the great singer Paul Cawthron, I got some FU money. I don't have to. You know, worst case scenario, man, you kick me out of here. Like, I'm a paramedic, man. I've got, you know, I teach. I got a lot of stuff going on, and so it's not like I'm going to starve. And I know that, you know, I'm a 50-year-old man, and I only have, you know, probably a few years left in this, you know, until it gets sad. And I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be You know, I mean, that's you want to leave at a point to where that was one of the most disappointing things. Is I'll come back on this, but you know, I've had things happen over the years, man. I've had an ex-wife pass away. I've had a fiance pass away, and I was telling my wife the other day, so many times, like because of media, because of books, because of movies, like you expect kind of this big climactic thing to happen, right? But it just ends sometimes, and that's kind of how it was with the wrestling. It wasn't that like there was this big loser leave town match and I left my boots in the ring or something like that. It was the promotion kind of shut down, and everyone kind of went their own way, and it was years later until there was an opportunity to kind of come back at it. I would like it to end when it does end, and I hope it's not soon, but like when it does, I want it to end in a way that I want it to end, where I can say, okay, you know, I told the story I want to tell. It's time to leave them in the ring, and it not be because it just kind of happens, right? And so that gives me an opportunity to, I think, have a lot of freedom that some workers don't get to have that are hopeful to maybe make a career out of this, because you know I can say those things. If they fire me, they fire me. But I mean, but also I think a lot of my heat isn't, for the most part, occasionally, isn't offensive heat. It's more, it's more built around kind of, you know, I've worked now for several years, kind of in a professional setting, and it's kind of being those people that, I mean, there's always people that in those settings that you're just like, man, that's the most pretentious person I ever met in my life, right? It's not that, it's just that air of pretentiousness where they're just like, oh, they think they're better than me, like they can't do anything, right? They need me for literally half the things they do, and God, they just act like they, if you know, this place would shut down if something happened to them, and the only thing that happened is we'd have a party, and that's kind of who I've tried to be, I guess, is just that pretentiousness. And so you can be pretentious and not really offend. Uh, it's more they just hate you because you think you're better than them. And I remember Leonard one time, me and him, he said, man, you act like you're better than these people. I said, I am better than these people, Leonard. So
Dude, I don't think you could have answered that question any better. That was great right there, man. Because honestly, that's honestly an answer I've been trying to get out of people was, because you're thinking of your heat, not just I'm going to insult these people.
yeah,
It's I have to. How does my character
yeah.
make them not like me without just having the insult?
Well, I mean, I think, I mean, it's kind of like it was wrestling, right? Like you don't want everything to be low hanging fruit. I mean, occasionally you got to pick one, right? Like occasionally it's sitting right there, and I mean, you got to pick it. But for the most part, like you want this to be, you want this to be something that you can be proud of, right? It's easy to go out there and just be like, you're fat and you're ugly and you have bad shoes, but it's a lot harder to go out there. I had a kid, and I stole this the other day from someone too. But I had a kid screaming at me, and I turned around. I said, "You're awfully mouthy for someone who has the same haircut as his mother." Like, okay, get offended about that. But I mean, that's a great line, and two, you know, I Mary at the show, and I love Mary, but Mary, you know, honest all the time, and I told her, I said, Mary, I'm gonna come out there and open a boot store in your colon, like that's a great line, right? Like that's so much fun. But but you know that sort of, like those sort of things, like yeah, I mean, but they get mad at it. But like that's not like I'm not out there like calling them names or making fun of, you know, whatever. I mean, it's those sort of things are I think doable, but they take a little more thought, or a little more pre planning, right?
Yeah.
You got to kind of figure out. You can't just go out there and be like, and you're fat. Because one, I mean, it's just mean. You don't want to punch down. You never want to punch down.
I love that.
I mean,
I'm feeling that. Uh,
Yeah, I mean, in real life, you might want to punch down, like as a worker. Like, I'm not telling you never to hit anyone on the ground, but yeah, right. I mean, it's a lot like, and I know Gabriel there does a lot of comedy stuff, and he does the same thing. That's one of the things that's what kills a lot of comedians is you get famous and all you can do is punch down, right? And
Like he
it's not
just
funny
said,
anymore. Yeah,
finesse is
yeah,
key.
no, it is. It's finesse. I mean, so it is. It's you can move lateral, you can move up, but you. I mean, at the end of the day, you know they've come and paid, and so you can insult them, but you can't insult them in a way that lessens them because I mean you wouldn't be there if it wasn't for them, right? So you can insult them in a way that's insulting, that shows that I think I'm better than you, but for that to work, they have to see you get hit, you gotta get your ass beat every now and then, man. I mean, and I think that's the thing, right? Is like the other day, CJ Blaine did a suicide, and I went over the rail back in there. Man, those people hated me. That was the greatest thing they ever. I mean, they loved that, right? I mean, occasionally, if you're going to be that kind of guy, you have to get to the point to where there's got to be a payoff for them occasionally, right?
Yeah,
And I think,
otherwise it's just them swinging in the dark.
yeah, it's just you being mean to people. Come back next week, give me your money. Like that only lasts so long, right? But I mean, if they get a payoff, if you can, if they get to see you get your your just
Get your
desserts,
come up.
get your
Yeah.
come up. Um, and I think that's again that's part of the I think that's part of the fun of being a manager because it doesn't affect where we are in the win rankings, right? It doesn't affect where we are in the title chase. It doesn't matter how many times I get my ass beat or catch a spear or get pinned by a girl. None of that matters as far as Nick's climb or whoever I'm managing his climb. And so
Yeah.
that's
Your goal is to get your guy
yeah,
over.
and I get to have a lot of fun doing it because man, sometimes there's a certain freedom in helping plan your own demise, right? I mean that it is. It's a lot of fun to be like, okay, and this is how you're going to get over on me. And they're like, oh yeah, yeah, that's a great idea, or that's terrible. Let's do this. And but you get to have that conversation. How long have you and your sister been married?
I love Crusher. I love Crusher.
Genetically, your children are the same person. You know that. Like one of my
So
favorites when we come down that little aisle and little kids hold their hands out, and I always just look at them like it's the most disgusting thing that could happen to me is to touch this child, and and I mean, and it's funny because I'll tell you one of the best things that ever happened to me is working in a place that isn't my home because I get what Leonard was saying now. Like it's tough to come in and be like, I'm going to kill your dog on Saturday and then pick up your garbage on Sunday, right? And so being away from that a little bit because I don't just run into fans very often. And so part of it's because I don't leave
that's
the
why
house.
I'm glad I live like 3 hours away from every show I work.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it makes it easier though, in a
it
way,
does.
right? Because if you
It
ran into
does.
those people every day at the grocery store, it's hard to hold them the mystery of it.
Well, we've gotten a lot longer than I normally do on this, and I'm not
Well,
complaining at all.
I've
But
enjoyed it, man.
I do have a couple more little things I want to
Okay,
add.
yeah, go
We're
ahead.
gonna circle back a little bit. I had that kid asking about training, but not necessarily training. But if you knew a young guy that was wanting to get into wrestling, what advice would you give them?
Okay, uh, so from a training aspect, um, I find someone reputable, and by that I mean I wouldn't just depend on who I tell you or who, but ask people who are in it. Tell them that you're interested in being in it, and because there's a lot of people out there that take your money and not teach you a lot, man. I mean, I think that's super important. Another thing is, you're going to meet probably a lot of people. Some of those people will be amazing and never go anywhere with this, and some of them will have been some places. One of the great things about being in early on that ASWF thing was I get to meet so many of those people, like Valiant, Tommy Rich, Buddy Landell, because it was at a time where they were still around. I talked to Chris Adams on the phone. He was supposed to come in before all that mess, and then I would always ask those guys that had been somewhere, if you could give me any advice, like if I was to make it big, what would it be? And I got a lot of don't spend money on hookers, but also I got a lot of things like Dusty Wolf, who was he was Doink the Clown for a little while. I think Mr. Wrestling 3 for a little while. I remember he told me, he said when I got called up to be Doink, he said I knew that he said I knew two things. He said, one, I knew this was going to be probably the highest I would ever be in my career. And he said I also knew that it was temporary. He said, so one of the first things I did was he said I got that first big check. He said I bought a house, and he said not a mansion, but one that I knew that I could pay the property taxes on. He said I bought a brand new, like a Honda, because it had a 10-year warranty, and I put the rest of that shit in the bank. And he said, and now he said I'm in a place to where I don't have to wrestle. He said I do, so I can get like Christmas money or something, but like I don't have to. Like there's money sitting there, I can be comfortable. He said because what you don't want to do is you don't want to be 90 years old. You don't want to be Ric Flair, man. You don't want to have this is the last match ever, part 118. There has to come a time. We saw Willie Nelson 6-7 months ago. You don't want to be Willie, man. Willie's 98. That man wants to go to bed. Like
right.
And so I think find someone reputable, or somebody's reputable. There's nothing wrong with training out with some people and then maybe training out with some more people. Man, absorb everything you can once you kind of get into it. Understand how very little it matters if you win or lose, because again, it's all about.
That's a discussion I've had to have with a few people here recently.
It's all about building that, building the character. It's about building who you are. Don't be afraid to try new things, but God, know when to try them. There's a try things in training. Play to your strengths, though. I think that's one of the biggest things, man. I would work with guys that were built like I am. They'd be like, I'm a lucha libre. No, you're not, buddy. I'll tell you, but Toomer, K Toomer, man, that man's, he's like a cat, right? He's so agile. But that wasn't, and I can almost bet you money if he was here, he could tell you, his first match, I bet those weren't the moves that he piled out of there, right? You played to your strengths.
No, because his first match was with me.
Oh, yeah.
And he knocked the shit out of me, and we just basically just brawled.
You're gonna have bad matches. No matter what you do, no matter how good you are, there's going to be someone that it doesn't click with. There's going to be a crowd that doesn't click with. Don't let that define you. That's another, I guess, piece of advice. And if it doesn't pop the first time, it's not going to pop the second time. I cannot tell you. I should have learned that years ago. Don't be like, oh, they didn't pop for that. Maybe they didn't see it. They saw it. So, I think that's on my end. That's what I would say. And I would say when it comes to character development, again, I would really I would think about who do I want to be. I would think about kind of all aspects of that. Again, think about the weaknesses of that character, the kind of the fears of that character, right? Like how does that tell a story, right? Because let's go back to wrestling telling the story, right? Like there'll be tons of people that get out there and their finishing move is like a DDT, and they'll spend the entire match like they'll work an arm for 2 minutes, they'll kick you in the shin for a minute, they'll do nothing but like low blows, and then they'll hit a DDT. But like, where's the psychology there, right? Like, why aren't we softening the neck and the head? Kind of the same idea when it comes to building a character, right? Is again the character of Playboy that I have right now. He just wants people to respect him, right? That's all he wants. He doesn't think he's a bad guy. He doesn't think he doesn't think that what he thinks is he's been overlooked, and all he wants, like if Craig, Craig Stone, the guy that's running it around, if Craig came out to the mic, it's like, Brandon, God, you're a legend, and we're lucky to have you. That character just like the Wicked Witch, man, he just melt. Because that's all he wants is he wants the crowd to acknowledge the fact that he doesn't, he's contributed something. So that doesn't come up, right? It's not like every week we come out there and I'm like, oh, and I just want the crowd to care about me. But those little things, right? And we built, like Gabe said, we built more lore on that. So I told when we kicked we kicked Ray out of the Omitted. I told him, I said, he lost a match. I said, Ray, I'm not just mad. I said, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. And as I started to walk away, I said, like my father said, Ray, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. I walked around. I said, of course, you never do, my father. You would rather have been mad. And they just mauled him, right? Like we built kind of that lore, though, right? Of like, no one's ever respected me, right? It's always been, Dad was disappointed. You people forgot me, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And yeah, no, I think Crusher right there, man, I could not have said that better myself. Because again, I mean, realize you're part of something bigger than you, man. I mean, it's a business.
I've bumped into a few guys that tried to train and then realized that they couldn't just do the fancy stuff. They had to learn the basics, and they didn't want to do that.
Well, and you gotta lose sometimes. You're gonna have to lose sometimes. You're gonna have to kind of look at like a fool sometimes. Because again, it's for the business, man.
There's three things that I always tell young guys when they want to start. Number one, keep the ego in check or lose it completely. Number two, be patient. Number three, have a thick skin.
Well, and I think one more I would add to that is be open, because there's opportunities a lot of times that will show up. Don't come in. I mean, come in, stay the show. You never know when there's going to be a run-in, when someone's going to get hurt. I can't tell you how many times someone said, "Hey, man, can you go kill 5 minutes? Can you go kill 5 minutes while someone's car broke down on the way in or whatever?" There's those little opportunities are there. Take them, and sell yourself, but don't sell yourself like I won't go under. Sell yourself as, what can I do? What can I do to help the show? What can I do to make the show better? What can I do to improve? Man, debrief after every match. What would go good? What can we do? I mean, those things are so important.
One of the best things I heard not too long ago, Nick Nemeth was at Memphis. And one of the things he said, and I heard him say it on Busted Open Radio as well, he goes, actual wrestling is the least important part of professional wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
100%. Hands down. And that's coming from a guy that's been at the top.
Well, and again, I've spent almost 30 years as a paramedic, EMT and then a paramedic now. Yeah. But very similar. It's tribal. It's a family. Realize that wherever you go, you're going to meet someone that's heard of you or know someone you know. So like, not the level of respect like when you come into the dressing room, you have to be like, "Please, sir, may I shine your boots?" But like, be careful who you're a jerk to, because you don't know. I mean, again, like, you don't know who people know. Those things matter. It is very much it's a small world, man. And we ran into Jimmy Valiant at a fair, Jonesboro here fair, a few years ago, and he was like, "Hey, Brandon," and I was like, "Man, it'd been 20 years since the dude met me." You never know, man. I mean, again, so like, yeah, just sell yourself, but sell yourself on what can I do to make things better, and what can I do to improve. Not that I'm the best thing ever. Because there's always, dude, there's always going to be someone better than you on the mic. There's going to be someone better than you in the moves. It's the whole package that matters, and luck. Yeah. But it's a lot of luck. I mean, it really is.
Right place, right time.
A lot of hard work, a lot of luck. And some people don't put in a lot of work and they're just lucky. I mean, it just happens. But some people work their whole lives and they're fantastic and they're not. At the end of the day, man, it doesn't matter. Live your life. Man, life is tragic and it's beautiful, and sometimes it's both at the same time. So that's my little pep talk, I guess, for the day.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that at all. Before we cut this loose, the last thing I got to ask, this is always the one I ask. Most time it's wrestlers, but I know you've been in both aspects of it. If this weekend, not necessarily saying the show that's actually happening, but if this coming up weekend, if this was your last time being part of a show, how would you want your last show to go? How would you want that to go? Say basically, how would you want your retirement to happen?
I think especially for this character, I think the only way for it to end properly is a redemption arc, right? He needs. His whole thing has been about ASWF. ASWF has merged. It's got to be something that ends in some sort of maybe self-sacrifice to where, the company stays with ASWF or the ASWF keeps whatever. Like, I think it has to be some sort of, he realizes there's something bigger than him. And that's what he's really always cared about. I think that would be it. How that would be set up, David, I can't tell you. But I think kind of that closing of that arc, right, is, if I could pick any way for it to happen, it would be that. Whether that be to, end up helping, helping the baby or helping Craig, or doing something, just something. I think though that kind of closes that arc. And so. Like a face turn would, I think, be do the right thing. I think that would be how you close that chapter.
Love hearing that with his son. That's awesome.
Oh man,
that's awesome. You can't tell a story any better than that.
No, no. I'm afraid my son would hurt me for real. He's a fireman. He's so much better shape than I am. It's disgusting, right? You look over at it, you're like, oh, I hate everything about you, kid, with your abs and your.
Oh, Lord. Well, Brandon, man, I really appreciate you being on here
David,
tonight.
We're
gonna go ahead and cut this off, but Absolutely. Don't go nowhere. I want to talk to you after we go off the air. Sure. But everybody that tuned in, we appreciate y'all. Like I said, and if you just tuned in, make sure you go back and watch at the beginning, the first 20 minutes. Just going over flyers and everything, putting over wrestling shows. If you're interested in, if you're a wrestler and you want to work in Arkansas, hit me up. I have a list of probably 99% of every show that runs in Arkansas and who to get a hold of to be a part of it. So if you want that information, just shoot me a message and I will get it to you.
Well, man, and like I said, I don't know a lot, but if anyone ever needs any advice or man, how am I going to get this guy over? I mean, if I can do anything to help, again, the business is what matters. Holler at me. I'd be happy to.
We appreciate you, man. But everybody, thank y'all for watching Arkansas Wrestling Unleashed. Tune in next Thursday for Standard Special Dummies Unit. And then next Thursday that's Thanksgiving. We might move that to Friday. because I might be too fat to move. So, but and then 2 weeks from tonight, we will be back for another episode of Arkansas Wrestling Unleashed. If you are a promoter, send me your flyers so I can put you over. Thank y'all for watching.
Good night, guys.